If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, and a child shall lead them. To buy our merch, just waiting on Vinny to arrive, we have, yes, Perpetual Change is the next song on the list. In the meantime, I'll pull up the lyrics and then chat with you guys. The crazy things about doing this YouTube channel is like you shoot videos and you shoot them one time and then they go up online and they can be viewed hundreds, thousands of times. And so you end up saying something in a review that you don't even remember saying. But then it ends up helping somebody somewhere, someplace. And it's like, it's just crazy to see like something that you did once just kind of take off and be able to still help people even when you're not like still currently doing it. Like we're obviously not shooting that video still. So I don't know. It's always encouraging when people let us know stuff like that because
we don't take it for granted.
We don't. We really don't.
We don't take it for granted. I mean, we don't come with an agenda to, whatever. But one of the things that was fascinating to me almost immediately was people reacting that way. But then it kind of makes sense because metal and the music that we all love is extremely emotive. And all of us kind of fell in love with this music because we had issues or have issues. Obviously, I'm a corn kid, so that's absolutely on purpose if you caught that. So it makes sense, that we would all have issues that we're going through. But it's mind-boggling to me that just us sharing the things we've gone through and, the ways which we've tried to see the bright side of things has been helpful. See, that's the big thing that a lot of you guys don't understand is that you guys, just like we've helped you guys for sure, you guys need to accept that you guys have helped us out as well. You've helped us understand cultures and subcultures that we haven't been familiar with, yada yada yada. So there's a lot of back and forth, which when you meet your favorite band, that's usually they say the same thing. Okay, guys, here we go.
And I've said this before, but you guys helped me in a way that like I feel like I would never be able to fully express or describe. But I was in a bad place spiritually, and then like being a part of the channel and being a part of a community with other people that understood that like not every experience people have as a part of a church is a good experience. And sometimes it can be really painful, but then kind of like being able to see that there are different ways to experience spirituality. And like a lot of the songs, people would be like at the beginning, stop talking about your God, but like the lyrics brought us there. So it was just cool to see that there are different ways to experience and express spirituality and to journey. Like there are different ways to pray. Like some of the lyrics have been like just straight prayers, but you know, most Christians would be like, that is unacceptable because of the way that it was packaged or what, you know, what it sounded like. But anyway, so thank you to you guys. Like one day you guys will understand how important you were
to us, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, guys.
All right, Perpetual Change.
Perpetual Change by the band Yes. Let's go! Hey, Zombie Holly, 4 days till surgery. Remind me so we can pray for you. All right, here we go. Yes. Perpetual Change. Is there an intro for Perpetual
And Zombie
Change?
Holic, if there's something that you need that would make something a little bit easier from Amazon, email vinandsori@gmail.com and let Vinny know so we can just send us the link from Amazon. Can help you out, hopefully. So
Yeah, seriously, Zombie, let us know if there's anything we can get you. We'll be on that shit for show. Okay, here we go, guys.
what did you just ask me?
I was gonna see if there was a write-up, but
No,
there
there's not.
isn't.
That was
All
the
right.
only thing.
Perpetual Change. Yes, let's do it. And Varpy's like, this is a cult. I'm leaving. Leave. Leave while you have the opportunity, sir.
Go now! Flee!
Wow.
I see the cold mist in the night and watch the hills roll out of sight. I watch in every single way, inside out, outside in, every day.
That
The
sounds so
sun
old.
can warm the coldest dawn and move the movement on the lawn. I learn in every single day, inside out, outside in, And one peculiar point I see as one of many ones of me. As truth is gathered, I rearrange inside out, outside in, inside out, outside in.
Perpetual Change. Just go from right to left. It's in your left ear now.
Okay. All right.
That
So I
was
figured
Perpetual
out
Change.
why I said the last Yes song that we listened to, I was like, there's something sad about them that I can't like put my finger on.
Okay.
So when the song, like the first 75% of the song, before it did like the last like two or three changes, like the majority of the song, what that was, the way that song, first of all, it sounded very dated. Like it seemed like it was kind of like set back, in a good way. Like I loved the sound of it. And then as he was singing it, and as the notes were coming across, how the song made me feel emotionally is the same way I feel in real life when I know, like, I'm in a moment. Like, you know how you hit, like, a moment in your life and you're like, yo, this is a moment. Like, this is one of those things. This is a pivotal moment. And then it's one of those things that you look back at a lot because it really was a moment.
Yeah.
So have you ever been like that when...
Yeah,
okay.
I've had a couple of those.
Okay, so when that happens, like the way that makes you feel, because, well, you can never return to that moment except through memory. So, like, those moments when I recognize they're happening, they always make me sad because I'm like, okay, this will be done, and then all it will be is a memory of this moment, even though this moment is so, like,
Okay.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So the song itself, the beginning of it, that's how it made me feel. It made me feel like the same emotion. Like, I didn't necessarily feel like listening to the song was a moment I feel like that would have been a really cool take. But listening to the song was cool, but it reminded me of the same emotion that I felt during the song was what I feel during one of those moments. So it was kind of interesting, which kind of makes it sound like that was a moment, but okay, it's getting too much. Anyway, so yeah, so like I recognized that feeling, and then I was like, okay, that's what makes me kind of feel sad, and all of it just sounded so. Then they did those switches, and I just felt like for the first time that I can consciously really focus on it, I don't like the switches like that because I was so happy with the first 75.
Yeah, but the name of the song is Perpetual Change.
I know, and that's what makes it so it kind of has to be like that.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have a song that doesn't change and talk about perpetual change. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of stuff going through my mind looking at the lyrics of this song, which later Emily, which I think. That's one of the main reasons that rhythm change was out of nowhere. There was no progression. There was no sort of like
completely shocking. Yeah,
it just but like that is where the music emulates the lyrics because it's talking about how change is perpetual. So how could you look at those lyrics and then be like, "Yep, we're gonna stay with the same." Like it makes complete sense that they would do such a seemingly random rhythm change. Okay, I'm gonna read this thing and then we'll go into the lyrics. Quantum physics has many theoretical arguments that have raged for over a century, but among its greatest pioneers, Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg, stated that nothing in nature, not just the red light, but all the basic stuff in creation, such as electrons and photons, cannot be proven to exist unless someone looks at them. So that was that's an interesting take, because if you say, it's like saying, whenever I walk into a room the red light is on, and so a person says, well, yeah, the red light is always on. You go, well, how could you test that? How could you test if the red light was always on? Well, the only way to test if the red light was always on is to look at it. But then if you look at it, what they're saying is your looking creates the light itself.
Then it's not as crazy that kids cover their heads when they're scared.
Right, because maybe they figured it out. That's a very fascinating. That is so fascinating that you said that. Wow. I'm going to have to think about that for a long time.
It is.
So essentially, it's like basically Niels Bohr and the rest of, they were arguing that nothing really exists outside of an observer.
Yeah.
And obviously the Christians took that and said, well, then how the fuck is the universe still spinning around then? Somebody's got to be outside of the universe observing it for it to continue.
We have an answer.
So that's a very, very, very fascinating concept. That's a very, very fascinating concept. But it has a lot of implications when you look at the lyrics of this song. So here are the actual lyrics to the song.
I see the cold mist in the night, and I watch the hills roll out of sight. I watch in every single way, inside out, outside in, every day. The sun can warm the coldest dawn and move the movement on the lawn. I learn in every single day, inside, outside, in every way. That's so funny. We used to have a book, Inside, Outside, Upside Down.
Mm-hmm.
And there you are, making it up that you're sure that it's a star when all you see is an illusion shining down in front of me.
See?
Uh-huh.
And he's saying you're making it up. So there's a lot of ways you could look at that. You could say you're making it up in the sense that you don't really know what you're looking at, and you know that you don't know what you're looking at, but you're saying something because you don't want to leave it. Like we have those arguments. I'm like, where'd you get that from? You just made that up. So I'm like, so when he says like you're making it up, I was like, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about. But then I was like, yeah, but if I went like the quantum route, then it would literally be true that you're literally making it up as you observe it, which is a really mind-boggling concept to me, that there are people who are trained in actual science that are saying this and believe this.
I know.
It's truly an insane concept to me.
Yeah, but
that's a real thing.
As like coming from a Christian standpoint, wouldn't that destroy that? Because God is always watching everything. Therefore, everything is always being observed. So it doesn't need me to look at it for it to happen. It's already happening.
Right. God's looking at the moon. Right. So the moon is there whether you're looking at it or not.
So then doesn't that destroy the whole?
No, because it still says that
I'm
the
talking
moon.
about that experiment specifically that they did. It was not being observed, and then when it started doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was already being observed by God before that.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. So then what's the effect of the observer? Yeah, that's really fascinating. There's just so many questions relative to quantum physics that has a lot of implications for everything. So he says you're making up as you're going along, and then that was a crazy line. That's why I found this quote about the whole Einstein situation. He once walked back from the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton with the late Abraham Peiss. The moon was out, and Einstein asked Peiss, "Do you really believe the moon is out there when you're not looking at it?" So there are literally people, very intelligent people, that's what they believe. I've mentioned Don Hoffman a couple times, mentioned Bernardo Castro a couple times. Like, it's mind-boggling to me that that's out there. Like, to me, when I first heard of it, I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then I started reading, and, reading all these position papers. I'm like, yo, how is this not, like, the front page of everything? Like, this, to me, like, changes your entire outlook on stuff. But, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. One peculiar point I see as one of the many ones of me, as truth is gathered, I rearrange inside out, outside in, perpetual change. So that one is not necessarily talking about, science and all the rest of it. It's talking about the change within himself, which is funny because, when we're chilling with the guys, he was asking about my 9,000 names that I have. It's like, why do you have so many names? And I was like, well, this and that, and this and whatever. And then I talked about one of them, and I talked about my experience.
If you're listening and you don't know what he means by just saying that, he didn't give much more detail in the actual moment either. You're like, so.
I have a lot of names. Like, people on the planet, if they saw me, certain people, if they saw me, they'd call me this. Another group of people would call me that. I was just on the phone with my best friend from way, way back in the day. He calls me this. So I was explaining that, and as explaining one of my names happened after a crazy event, and he was like, "Whoa, I love that! It's like you were reborn," that type of thing. So people rearrange themselves and reinvent themselves all the time. But one of the things that I think about is I'm looking at Orion.
He's 3.
And I'm like, yo, he was that little spinny. I wish I could find that video, bro, because that video is crazy to me to be like, yo, that was my.
It should be pretty easy. Just look in your videos from.
That was my child.
2018.
Yeah, from 2018. And he was spinning around. And
they brought in this tiny little machine, it was this big, and they were gonna check to do a quick ultrasound in the room, but she's like, these don't come out super clear, so we're not sure what we're gonna really see. And then she put the little thing on me, and we immediately saw. She was like, "Oh my God, right there, that's baby right there." And he was, I don't even understand. On the little display, it looked like he was no bigger than a grain of rice.
Yeah.
But he must have been a little bigger than that. I don't know. He was just tumbling, just spinning. And then even the doctor laughed because she hadn't seen a baby doing that before.
Yeah.
He was just going around and around like he was doing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But why? What's the reason for that? And so Vinny took out his phone and recorded that little screen. So that's the video he's talking about.
Yeah, but when you talk about perpetual change, it's yo, that's the whole concept in philosophy that people are trying to unify. Like, on the one hand, that kid in that bed right now looks nothing like what I saw on that, but like he's still the same being.
Yeah.
And then people say things like, yo, I'm the same person I was, blah, 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 but I'm not. I'm not the same person I was.
No. Yeah.
So then you think to yourself, like, well, okay, then what makes you you? Because your body's always changing. I don't look the way that I looked 30 years ago. He doesn't look the way that he looked. Your body's always changing. Your personality changes. There isn't anything about you that's observable that isn't subject to change, including your voice.
Yeah.
So then you say, but what makes you you then? What is it about you that makes you you as distinct from somebody else if every observable aspect of who you are and what you are changes? That's a fascinating question. Now, obviously, having this third category, spirituality, you then say, yeah, because all of these things are things in this dimension or whatever. The true self is in you know, your true self is your spirit. And that's what makes you you, and that's not subject to change relative because it's not bound by the physical laws of the universe. Whereas your personality, even though it's a metaphysical concept, your personality is influenced by the things that go on in the material world. So, for example, you could say Susie's a nice person, she has a nice personality, but if she has a migraine headache, she might be not as nice. Or if she has PMS, she might not be as nice, right? Because that's a physical thing in the world that's affecting her metaphysical personality. So what I would say is, the first time I'm thinking out loud, your spirit is something that is not affected at all by any of those things, and that is the thing about you that makes you you. That's the thing about you that's constant.
What? No, you just said your spirit is not affected by those things?
Yeah, I don't think it is. It's not. Like, you cannot change a spirit based on physical issues.
I think you're wrong. Think of somebody that experiences suffering. There was that pastor, he used to get gout, and he said that it affected his...
Spurgeon.
Didn't he say that specifically, that it affected his... I mean, look at somebody who has a physical ailment for extended periods of time, and they become bitter and angry spiritually.
I'll modify it, but the difference is it doesn't permanently change it, whereas in this, your personality can be permanently changed. It will be permanently changed.
Are you saying the nature of your spirit? Is that what you're saying?
All I'm saying is the part of you that you say is you, that you're carrying on from the moment you were conceived till the moment that you die. When you say, I am me, what I'm saying is, what does that mean? Because the physical aspect of you is constantly changing. The psychological aspect of you is constantly changing. The emotional, all of these things are in flux. And if you look at point A versus point Z, many times they're unrecognizable. So that's the thing. It's like, okay, so then what is it about a person that makes them is what I'm exploring.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is that I think what we call the spirit is that, because while the spirit can be affected, it doesn't get permanently changed by anything in the physical world.
And why do you need that? Why do you need something that doesn't change to be who you are?
Because how are you saying that you are an individuated person when everything about your being is in constant flux and is not recognizable when you put one to the other? So how are you? What about you is the same? Like, are you the same person are you the same being you were when you were 5 years old?
Well, yes. I say yes, you're the same being. Like, you are going to change, aspects of you are going to change. I mean, that's, I think, why we even have the concept of the inner child, is because you are still that person. There are aspects of your person that is changing and is growing and can be getting worse.
What do you mean you're that person? If I were to say you're acting like a 5-year-old, you'd be insulted. You wouldn't say, yes, I'm a 5-year-old.
No, but if you said... if you see a picture of yourself at 5 and you say that's you, that is you.
Why are you saying that though? What about it is you? You don't look like that person. No. You don't act like that person. You don't talk like that person.
Yeah, but you were there with all those experiencing. That
what
is
of
you.
You was there?
Oh, something. I don't know. Something.
That's
internal.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
you're asking what is that?
You ask. When you're saying like, why do you need a constant? That's why. Because otherwise, how do you individuate personalities from one another?
Well, I think maybe it's the part of you that. Okay, this is what I would say. It's the part of you that just like other parts of your personality, you can have like a really great part of your personality and then you can lose it. Or you could have like a part of yourself that's very attractive and all of a sudden it's gone, like it's aged. But your person, like your who you are, you don't lose, you just
what
keep
does that
gaining.
Mean?
You just keep gaining in that area.
No, I've lost a lot of things. Like, for example, no, you're complete. When people say I've lost my innocence, there are things that you lose that you never get back. They're not just changing, like they actually go away.
Not your person. What you can lose is not your person.
So what is your person?
I think that your person is what you get from all of your experiences, and that thing just keeps growing.
So if another being had the exact same experiences as you, then they'd be the exact same person as you.
No.
Okay, so then what is it about you that individuates yourself from the other person who's having the exact same experience?
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's got to transcend.
Yeah.
It's got to transcend the 4 dimensions that we're in, which is why I'm just dumping it into the spirit category.
Yeah.
Because that I think it is an aspect of ourself that's actually outside of this this segment of reality, we'll call it that. So like, for example, like if you're playing a virtual reality headset, right? Like the world that you're inhabiting is not the real world. The real you is outside of that world.
Yes.
So my theory right now is that there is all of us. There is a part of us that's outside of this world. But for God's purposes, we don't know that. We can only get there by logical deduction and say, hey, wait a second, none of this shit is actually real. Mm-hmm. And we've kind of woke, it's kind of like AI waking up to itself. But I think for God's purposes, the entire reason that we're here is specifically to learn something about ourselves and God. And so if we had the awareness that we're actually outside of this reality, it would completely undo the point of the project in the first place. That's as far as I've come to figuring this stuff out. At what point are you necessarily going to be different? It's one of those questions of philosophy that can't easily be answered. Yeah, and I think that Philo was dealing with the logos. Like, how do you never cross the same river twice? Mm-hmm. So that's an interesting angle. But then you have this kind of logos principle that keeps everything together, even though it's constantly in flux. So whatever that mystery was, Philo just dumped it into the concept of the logos. So the logos is keeping everything together, which obviously, the Christian said, "Thank you very much. We'll take that." So yeah. Anyway, this is a brilliant song, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I liked the rhythm changes. The rhythm changes made a lot of sense to me. They were very abrupt, but that's the entire point of the song, is that change happens that way. So this song is getting a 9.3 for me.
So I would give the beginning, the first 75% of it, just on that, I would give it a 9.2. And then I did not like the changes in there. At all. I would have brought that down to a friggin' 5 or a 6. But when you put the context behind it of what it means, then you can't do that, because it actually fits very well. So I will give this song a solid 9.
All right, and then we had Perkinos there. This is why Aristotelian categories are helpful. Your substance is the you. Your eye color, your hair, your skin color, your ability to laugh, even your cells, etc., are your accidents. Okay, but how does Aristotle define substance, though? Is Aristotle using substance the way that I use spirit, which is basically a catch-all for existence outside of the, fourth dimension? How does he deal with substance? I'd like to know. Okay, we've got more songs on the way. Song number 3 coming up, dear listener. We are in the midst of the Yes Marathon by the big homie DJ Nick. We shall see you on the other side of the break. Time to pay bills.